Hi, this is Mrs. Swigart, and today we're subtracting integers. The object for today is we're going to review adding integers because you've got to have a good foundation, and we're going to subtract integers. Well, subtracting and adding integers. When you are adding and or subtracting integers, pretend you have heroes and villains. Or you could pretend you're on two different football teams, whatever makes the most sense. And they're going to be, one of them's going to be the positive, the other's going to be the negative, and they're going to fight each other and take each other out. Well, it makes sense if you have more of one than the other, you're going to have a win, because it's one for one. One guy takes one out. So, let's look at some examples. Say, for example, we have 4 heroes, 4 positives, and 3 villains. We'll make the villains the negatives. And after they fight, what happens? Well, you end up having one extra hero that didn't have anybody to fight. So, if we have -4 plus 5, well, I have 4 villains and 5 heroes. I'm going to have one extra hero. In this one, I only have heroes, so I'm going to have 5 heroes when I'm done, because there's no war. On this one, I'm going to have all villains. So I have -9 villains. Here I have heroes are the 4 and villains are the -5. It's just another way to think about it. Here, on this particular problem, the villains won. Okay? Kind of get the idea? It's just another way to give you to understand. Now, another option is to use a number line. But remember, when you start doing this, you always start at 0. So our first one would be -4. And so we're going to go in the negative direction 4 places, then we're going to go in the positive direction 8, and our answer would be 4. So if you have to, you can use a number line. Now on this next one, we start at 0, we go in the negative direction 1, and then we go in the negative direction 3 more. So that'd get us -4, because they're the same. And then our last one, we have a positive, so we're going to go in the positive direction 5, in the negative direction 2, and so we have -2. Okay, let's just remind you what the rules are. When the signs are the same, add and keep the sign. So we have -2 plus -4 gives us -6. Okay, when the signs are different, subtract and then use the sign of the larger. So we have a -2, we have a +4, gives me a +2 because 4 is a positive number. Okay, if we have this one, we'd have -2 because 4 is a negative number. Still the same idea. Subtract and take the sign of larger. We'll look at this one real quick. Do it on your own. Hope I've waited long enough. One's positive, one's negative, so subtract. Take the sign of the larger, which is positive. Understand, I just want to remind you real quick. Remember, just because your answer is listed doesn't mean it's right. Some of you could have thought it was -2. Test makers know that your wrong answers might be right too. They know. They make the test tricky anyway. That's why they have both answers. Always check your calculation and your sign, especially your sign, because I can't count how many times if I miss a problem it's due to the negative and the positive. Okay, work this one. Hope you've had enough time. The answer is -9, because we have 2 negatives. We put them together and take the sign. Now, we're going to add on the number line again just to show you how it's done. We go in the positive direction 3, we go in the negative direction 5, we end up at -2. Now, there's a different way to write this problem. We could write it like this, and it'd be the exact same thing. The subtraction sign is the sign of the number. You need to be getting used to seeing that and understanding that. They're saying the same thing. Keep that in mind. The key to remember is the subtraction sign is the sign of the following number. It's not just a subtraction sign anymore. And that is so important. These are both saying the exact same thing. You're used to the second one. You got to get used to the first one because you're going to start putting it in equations and in algebra. It's key, 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 key. So write this down. Here's an example where it's the subtraction sign makes that a -3. So I have -6 and -3. I get -9. I have +5, -3. Signs are different. Subtract and take the sign of the larger, which is positive. Okay? Not that hard. Okay, here's one more. This one's different than the rest. Notice I am subtracting a negative number. And notice how they put parentheses around it. They will do that to keep you from being confused. And so when you have this happen, you're going to change both of those to positive because they cancel each other out. Okay? So in a sense, this is what you're saying. So the signs are the same. Keep the sign and add. You get 13 here. Now, there is the rule when you are subtracting a negative number, it's the same as adding a positive number. You change the sign and add. So in this one, it would become +7 because they cancel each other out. And we end up with 9. Here's another one. You have the double negative, so they both turn positive. Never change the first sign though. It's not changed. Okay? So negative, positive, subtract. Take the sign of larger, which would be negative. You got it. -9. Okay? Once again, double negatives, change the sign. Positive, positive, we get 9. If the problem is addition, follow your addition rules. If the problem is a double negative, change both signs and then follow your addition rules. So we're doing a lot of addition rules. Guys, that's it for today. Good luck tomorrow.